Welcome to our training presentation, Improve Profitability with a Performance Management Program. My name is Joe White and my company is Cost Down Consulting. If your trucking company is not meeting its profitability targets and your employees are not making assigned performance goals, then this training presentation will be of value to you. As any executive that owns or manages a trucking company knows, when employee performance improves, so does profitability. This training presentation overviews how to develop an effective performance management program that will improve both employee and financial performance in your organization. Let's start with some definitions. Wikipedia defines performance management as a process by which organizations align their resources, systems, and employees to strategic objectives and priorities. For the trucking industry, a more appropriate definition is as follows: a program that increases the profitability of trucking operations through use of performance goals, defined activities, and financial incentives to improve employee performance in trucking's critical success areas. Performance goals inform employees what the company expects in terms of future performance. A relevant example would be to reduce idle time from 2.2 to 1.5 hours per truck per day. The performance goal, therefore, is 1.5 hours per truck per day. Most trucking companies do have performance goals in place. Employees of these organizations are assigned specific performance goals they are expected to meet. However, performance goals alone are not enough to support improved employee performance. When developing a business plan to improve profitability, failing to provide employees with the support necessary to make assigned performance goals is the largest single mistake a company can make. This is a very important point, so I'm going to repeat it. When developing a business plan to improve profitability, failing to provide your employees with the full support necessary to make assigned performance goals is the largest single mistake a company can make. Performance goals provide employees information about what company performance expectations are. They do not explain how employees are going to improve performance or why they should work harder to meet those expectations. Defined activities explain to employees how they can improve performance. Defined activities, also referred to as best practices or standard operating procedures, are the most effective work processes identified to improve performance in a specific area. If your employees incorporate the right defined activities into their daily routine, their performance will improve. In addition to what is expected, our performance goals, and how they are going to get there, our defined activities, your employees also need to be provided motivation to justify why they should work harder. Financial incentives provide that why. When performance goals are met, company profitability increases, and a portion of that profitability is passed on to the employees that made their goals. To summarize what we have discussed so far, to significantly improve employee performance and company profitability, a performance management program must include performance goals and defined activities and financial incentives. Take out any one of these three components and your performance improvement efforts will most likely fail. As mentioned earlier, performance management programs are used to improve performance in trucking's critical success areas. Critical success areas are those areas of a trucking company that must perform at a high standard if the company is to succeed. A list of typical critical success areas for trucking companies is provided on this slide. The type of trucking company you own or manage may influence what your critical success areas are. For example, a bulk carrier may consider revenue per load as a critical success area, while a dry van truckload carrier would use revenue per mile. Both are a measure of a fleet's ability to generate revenue, but expressed in terms appropriate for their unique fleet types. Trucking's critical success areas are usually a measure of revenue or cost. In the case of cost, they may be measured directly, such as maintenance cost per mile, or indirectly, such as deadhead percentages or idle hours. In performance management lingo, critical success areas are most often referred to as key performance indicators, or KPIs for short. For example purposes, we will use 4 KPIs frequently assigned to driver managers: driver productivity, deadhead percentage, in-network fueling, and idle hours. Using these examples, let's take a closer look at the 3 components of a performance management program: performance goals, defined activities, and financial incentives. We begin with performance goals. For each KPI, a performance goal is assigned based on past performance, called the baseline, and targeted future performance, the goal. Performance goals need to be SMART, meaning they must be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Now that may seem simple, but designing an effective performance goal often requires more thought than you might imagine. Take, for example, a driver productivity performance goal of 2,200 miles per driver per week. Seems like a smart goal for a dry van truckload carrier, doesn't it? Perhaps not. Consider this scenario. Driver A and B at the bottom half of this slide each drove 2,200 miles during the week and therefore each made their goal. However, driver A had 200 more empty miles than driver B. Driver A operated at a 15.9% deadhead rate, while driver B drove only 6.8% miles without revenue. A performance goal can work against you if not carefully designed. In this example, a 2,200 miles per week performance goal seemed like a good driver productivity target, but revenue deadhead considerations were not built into the metric. An unscrupulous driver manager on a KPI bonus program could deliberately make unprofitable dispatch decisions in order to get assigned drivers the total miles needed to generate his bonus. Performance goals need to be carefully designed. Performance goals should gradually increase throughout the period being measured, as employees can't make drastic improvements in performance overnight. In this example, baseline performances are listed in the yellow highlighted column. The driver productivity baseline is 1,962 miles per week per driver. The blue highlighted row demonstrates how our goal for driver productivity increases each quarter, growing from 1,990 miles per week in quarter 1 to 2,150 miles in quarter 4. Each of the other performance goals follow a similar trend, increasing gradually quarter by quarter. Performance goals can be paired together to support each other. Earlier, I explained how miles per week per driver by itself may not be a good performance goal because it lacked deadhead miles consideration. However, when we include both driver miles per week and deadhead percentage KPIs together, it lessens the likelihood that deliberate, unprofitable dispatches will be made, as that action would hurt chances to make the deadhead bonus. Again, performance goal design is very important to the performance management process. Defined activities instruct the employees on how to get to the targeted performance levels. Often referred to as best practices, these are a list of the specific work activities that will most likely improve performance in a particular KPI. Within any organization, Some employees have more success in certain performance areas than do others. For example, 2 driver managers in your company may have consistently higher productivity performance with their assigned drivers than do all the other driver managers. The activities they use might be the best activities all driver managers should use for improving driver productivity. Additionally, besides using the best activities from within your organization, there may be best activities from other companies in the trucking industry you may want to incorporate. Once the list is completed, your defined activities incorporated into your employees' daily routine will provide the direction they need on how to improve KPI performance. Financial incentives provide employees with strong motivation as to why they should work harder and improve performance. Financial incentives within a properly designed performance management program are self-funded. That means that a portion of the increased profitability resulting from improved performance is used to pay bonuses for employees that made their goal. Here's an example of how self-funding works. We calculated that reducing idle hours from 37.5 hours per truck per week to 26 hours would result in an annual savings of $219,765. We have 4 driver managers, each assigned 4 performance goals. Each is eligible for a bonus of 16% of salary if they make all 4 goals. That means that for each goal they make, they receive 4% of their salary. If our average salary for driver managers is $40,000, a 4% payout would equal $1,600. Multiply 1,600 times 4 driver managers, and our total payout would be $6,400, making our net savings $213,365. From the driver manager perspective, if each goal they make results in a $1,600 payout, they have the opportunity to make an additional $6,400 each if they make all 4 goals. Financial incentives are very strong motivators and provide the justification employees need as to why they should work harder and improve performance. Each goal doesn't have to be evenly weighted as in our previous example. In fact, financial incentives should be weighted to the degree to which an employee can influence individual KPI performance. In this example, we have 3 employee types in the operations group: driver managers, load planners, and customer service reps. Each have the same KPIs: driver productivity, deadhead percentage, in-network fueling, and idle hours. However, each employee type has a different level of influence over each KPI, and we use weighting to recognize that in our bonus program. For example, we weighted driver manager bonus opportunity for driver productivity at 45%, since they are the most responsible for managing daily driver performance. Under this scenario, if the driver manager makes only his driver productivity performance goal and misses out on the other 3, he will still get 45% of his total bonus opportunity. Likewise, the load planner group has 50% of their bonus opportunity in making the deadhead goal, since they have responsibility to match the best load with the best driver. Weighting the bonus allows you to tailor your incentive plan to the influence level each employee type has on a specific KPI. Let's review what we have learned, beginning with our definition. A performance management program is a program that increases the profitability of trucking operations through use of performance goals, defined activities, and financial incentives to improve employee performance in trucking's critical success areas. Performance goals alone will not improve employee performance. Unsupported performance goals is the #1 reason companies fail to improve employee performance and company profitability. If you want to improve employee performance and profitability, you must include defined activities and financial incentives in your performance management program. Performance goals need to be smart. Take care in designing your performance goals to make sure they encourage the desired performance. Defined activities, also called best practices, provide the employees the most effective work tasks to meet their goals. Financial incentives provide employees the motivation they need to improve performance. Financial incentives are self-funding. A portion of the increased profitability from improved employee performance is used to fund their bonus program. I've mentioned the targeted key point of this presentation often throughout the narrative, but since it is so critically important to the success of improved employee performance and company profitability, I will close by mentioning it one final time. If you want to improve employee performance and company profitability, your performance management program must include performance goals and defined activities and financial incentives. Thank you for viewing our training presentation, Improve Profitability with a Performance Management Program. I hope you found it of value. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Thank you.